what we're gonna go over right now is general like kind of footsies and movement in Guilty Gear, because they kind of go hand in hand. And I know that there are a lot of people that don't understand this concept, so I'm gonna be trying to my best to explain this here for you guys so you guys can understand it. It's gonna be my first time doing this of this caliber, so bear with me. So there's a big concept that I believe that should be understood, and it's something I've struggled with trying to make a video on, but I'm gonna try to do it here. Basically, what I call basically slicing the pie. So essentially, like, the screen can be looked at in like 3 different sections, and this is gonna help you guys when you understand this. But trust me. So you got the center of the screen, you got the left corner, you got the right corner, right? Obviously, most of the action takes place. More often than not, it starts here in the middle of the screen, right? Then it can go to either side, right? So, how do we even get to that point, right? Well, the way we get to that point, first and foremost, is obviously you gotta play neutral. And in playing neutral, you have to understand the ranges in which you have to play at with your character, and understand the ranges you have to play against your opposing character, right? So in this instance, I'm using Kai because it's kind of easy to use him. And it's not too jarring because his normals are kind of like the basics of the basics. So I feel like if you can understand this while fighting Kai, this pretty much applies to every character in the game. Now this is more for characters who have run. This doesn't include, you know, Ino, Potemkin, you know, so any character with a run or dash for that matter. So this also does include Giovanna and Leo, so keep that in mind. Anyway, so first and foremost is understanding what your normals are and what range you have to play at with your normals, right? So let's say with Milia, you got far slash range, right? This is roughly like your tip range. You also have a sweep that hits a little bit further out, you know? So, and this goes for any character, right? Knowing how far away your normals can hit, right? And the range you need to be at for them to make contact, right? So in Milia's case, right? Back up here. We'll use this. I'm gonna go over to Epic Pen real fast, and basically this is the range in which you may have to play at, give or take, right? So we'll use this orange here, and we'll make that a bit bigger because that's way too small. So like this is that range in which you'd want to play at just to generally poke at your opponent, right? This is a decent position. And her sweep hits at roughly that same range too, right? Give or take. So we could say this is far slash, and this right here, which is kind of hard to see because of my camera, but this is sweep, right? So that's the range. You can kind of play around these. You know, for long range normals, that is, right? Give or take. Okay. Let's erase that. Let's look at some of Kai's normals and where he can play at, right? So we're back up here with Milia. So we got Kai's far slash, right? See the range we got for that? That's pretty much the range he's gonna play at, give or take, with that normal, right? So we're gonna make some markings here for that. So Kai can play here. This is far slash. Okay, so that's his far slash. Okay. I'm gonna move my camera for a second just to show this one off too. So I'll move my camera for a second so you can see this. First, so his crouching slash hits roughly about the same range, give or take. You know? So we could say this is 2S. Right? So this is 2S and far slash range. Right, so let's say it's a little, let's say it has a little bit more range. A little, yeah, just a little bit more range, right? Give or take. Right? So we know this now. We know that these are very prominent pokes at this range, and we can even add some more from Kai at this range too, right? So let's come back into the game. We also have 5H, where he steps in, right? So this most likely hits roughly about that same range too. So we have this range right here, right? So we can call this. This is 5S, right? 5S. It looks like SS, but you get the idea. That's 5S, right? So that's 5S range. Also have 6H. See, now 6S hits. I mean 6H, excuse me. 6H hits just outside here. So that's this one, and then this one's 6H. So essentially, this area here oopsie. So if we put all this together, this is essentially the ranges we have to be careful to play at. We know that all these normals, so far slash, 5S, 2S, 6H, these are the ranges we have to be mindful of, right? So it's very obvious that Kai's got range, right? Now, these become even more stifling when you're in the corner, right? Because if we were to consider, right, let's say this right here is essentially the corner where Millie is at, right? So now if you're cornered, like this isn't good, right? That means you don't really have much to deal with here. You don't really have much to work with here if you were in the corner, right? This means that your only other options if you were in the corner is you'd be forced to jump, right? So you'd have to go up, okay? Use a different color here, and it's hard to. Here we go. We use green for this. So you only really have your only other choice is to jump, right? Well, I can also say. How does this work? Ah, cool! I can type here. Haha! Sweet. Yo, epic pen. Hey yo. Right. So, as you can see right here, coming back to it, this is mostly for the mid screen. We haven't gotten to the corner yet, but like in mid screen, this is what you have to worry about. In the corner, it's scarier, right? So, like I said before, this area here could be considered the corner, right? This is the danger zone. We don't want to be cornered and having to deal with this. We don't want to be cornered having to deal with all this. So, what can we do, right? What can we do about this? Let's go here. And let's change color to green. What can we do? What can we do here? Well, let's start here. All these normals are jumpable. Okay? All these normals are jumpable. You can jump over all these normals. Right? However, maybe we go for a different color for this. Maybe make it a little bit easier to read. So if all these normals are jumpable, color. Then we'll come over here. Somewhere bigger. Kai can still anti-air. 6P. Right, you can still anti-air 6P. Right, so let's say we'll just use 6P because it's easiest, right? It's easiest. Kai can still anti-air 6P. if you jump. But here's the thing in the situation. Here's the thing you have to recognize in the situation, okay? I need you guys to understand the situation 100%, okay? Like, this is huge, okay? This is a very important aspect, okay? Both players... Oh, this is huge. Oh, that's way too big. Whoa. You gotta understand this, okay? Both players are reading each other. Might be a little bit hard to read. It's yellow? Okay. I want you guys to understand that. Both players are reading each other. Okay? That's the biggest part of this whole thing. Both players are reading the neutral. Okay? That's why while this is jumpable, both players have to read the situations. Right? So you have to grasp this, and it starts here. I know this is very technical. I know I'm getting really deep into it, but like, you have to understand this. Right? So when you know this, you have to think of the ways to counter, right? So let's look at it from another standpoint, right? So then what we can do to practice this is we go through the process of elimination and looking at our normals, right? So let's erase all this. Okay, we don't need this anymore. So we know what Kai's prominent normals are. So we'll call this Kai. Let me make it a little bit smaller. So there's, is this readable? Too short, too small. Bear with me here, guys. Kai's neutral normals. All right, so we gotta go through the process of elimination. So we got // we'll type out // right? What else do we have? 2s. What else do we have? 5h. What else do we have? 6h. Okay. So let's go through the process of elimination with all these normals. Okay. So let's isolate all these normals. Okay, we're gonna keep this right here. We're gonna put a box around it, right? And then we'll make another one, right? Make another box over here, right? And we'll just call this million answers. Okay. So let's go through all of them. Oh no, we haven't even got to fireball yet. So let's start with /. Okay. So how do we beat /? 6Ps beat mids in this game, right? So every forward punch or 6P should win. Okay, so we know this, right? So what can we approach with, right? Now we know we can approach Amelia's /. We know we can approach Kai's // with 6s as a, with 6P as a counter, right? So 6P beats // right? So we know that. Let's try something else. What else does it beat? It can clash with the stand heavy, or it can lose because it goes underneath. So it's spacing specific. Okay, so we know that. So we know it's not gonna beat. It's not gonna beat the what's it called? It will not beat 5H without the right spacing, right? So then we got 6H. 6H can lose to her 6P. So either one, it can clash or trade. So it can clash, trade, or win. but we know for a fact it's gonna beat /. And then naturally it's not gonna beat 2S because 2S, I mean the low is gonna beat the mid because it goes underneath it, right? So as you can see, there's some specific things for spacing you gotta pay attention to here. Okay, so now that we've kind of assessed this, right, this is gonna be the most important one, is that it beats /. So when you're reading the neutral, you know, if a Kai player is showing you // is coming out more often than not, then it's safe to assume that you can approach with 6p, right? 6p is good to approach. I'll say good for approach. For approach. Right? So we understand that. But we also know what it loses to now. Right? So here we can say on Kai's side, 6p loses. 6p trades, flash, etc. Right? Trade, clash, etc. Right? And then 6H is the same. Same as 5H. So this is how you come up with your game plan. This is how you come up with your neutral. 6p wins. See what I'm saying? This is how you come up with your options. Okay? So 6p is gonna win. 6p is gonna lose here. Trade, clash. Same with 5H. So 5H and this all the same. Okay? So now that we know what 6p is good for, 6p beats, 6p is good against one major option, and this is the most common. / is going to be the most common option here. Right? So if I come over here, most common approach, right? The most common approach is this. See what I'm saying? If this is the most common approach, then it's safe to say we can use this more often. Right? So this is just based on our opponent, right? So since we know this is the most common approach, we can use 6p a good bit in neutral on your grounded approach. But again, all jumpable. Make sure I put this all up here. All jumpable. Gotta remind yourself of that. So you know it's all jumpable. You know this is essentially how you would get your process of elimination with approaching. But we gotta put this here because this is still important to know that these are all jumpable. Okay. So and we can start going basically. So we have these boxes here. We can go down the list of like literally like every last one of her tools and start testing this, you know, pretty relentlessly, right? So when you get all this down, things start to make more sense. Now I know for a fact that this is hard. I'm not gonna tell you this is not. However, this is what makes neutral difficult, right? Because you have to read these situations, but it's also a process of it's also give and take, right? Neutral is a lot of give and take. Okay, you have to please understand this. I'm gonna put this in red so you guys understand this, right? There's a lot of give and take, and there's a lot of cause and effect. Okay, yeah, this is interaction, right? So I have to make sure I put this right here for you guys because it's important. Okay, like neutral is a lot of cause and effect, aka give and take, right? That's what this is. You give me information, I play off that information. That's how this works. Neutral. This is why neutral's hard. Not very many people understand this concept. And if you learn to understand neutral is a lot of cause and effect, because you showed me this card, I can now play this card. And that's when the layers start to come in, right? Because neutral is layered based on information presented mid-match. Understood? If you show me something, this is how this works. This is why the greats are so good at not just Guilty Gear, but many other fighting games. If there's information to be taken in, and this is how they layer their neutral game. You show me this, I can now play this card. You show me that, now what it's like, now that you show me this card and I've countered that, what is your response? Right? And then like once things are understood, once it's understood, what is the response? This is everything. This is everything. This is why so many of the greats are so good, because once they see the layers, then they have to respond. Now the response doesn't have to be immediately. You can still take in information. Okay? Information's always being taken in. Okay? I'll probably keep this right here. Information's always being taken in. You know, it's just how much of it can you utilize to your advantage? Does that make sense? So I'm trying to find another way to explain it because I don't want to hark on this too long, but I really want to emphasize this concept. And I think I'll probably make another video based on cause and effect, because that's what's going to take you to the top. But coming back to it full swing, you know, I'm going to keep this here. So when you guys watch this later, please, like, I encourage you to like screen cap this or just keep it in your head or write it, make a note of this. It's important. This is literally what takes this is what makes the best the best. Truly.